Welcome to this episode of the Fitness Marketing Agency podcast. Slightly different episode this week. So 3 times a year, we get together with our clients in world-class stadiums. We teach from stage what is working now. And then also a number of our clients jump on stage and they literally pull back the curtain on their business and they reveal all in terms of how they're growing and scaling that business. So at our most recent mastermind in Newcastle, one of our 7-figure clients, Fion, did exactly that. Fion is currently in the process of opening site 6 and site 7. So a serious operator. His business model is a small group personal training and he has a €1 million a year plus business. And he literally just jumps on stage and he's interviewed by Charlie and they go over everything to do with team and leadership. We work with a lot of providers of fitness at Fitness Marketing Agency. And one of the biggest challenges that most have is how to grow and scale a team and lead them successfully. So in this podcast, Fion reveals all. Let's jump into the episode.
But yeah, Fion, so when you came on the FMA podcast, you had 5 gyms, and now we're in the process of gym number 6 and gym number 7. Now, the question I have is that what systems and processes do you have in place so you can make this process as with the least amount of chaos as possible? Is basically the question I think. So I think in 7 gyms, this is becoming a bigger operation.
I think it's chaotic, regardless.
Yeah.
We've kind of stumbled our way here. We had one site, went through COVID, managed to open a second site, then site 3, 4, 5 in quick succession. We had to pause there for the last 2 years just because we were dealing with chaos scaling so fast. But I think we've really just looked at the business from a macro level and then tried to systematically solve the problems one at a time. So I suppose right now we're at a place where we have a big enough team. We have 19 full-time staff. We've got full-time salesperson, full-time content creator. So the gyms are running quite smoothly. So we're now at a spot where we're going to open up number 6 in May, number 7 in July, and hopefully number 8 later on in the year as well.
And so again, 5 current locations, 2 more coming. And I know that your kind of conversion rates, whether it's front end to back end, they're all above the 50% mark, I believe, across the board. I don't want you to run through all of them because otherwise we'll just run out of time if we go through all the individual data. But there's some people in here that maybe have 1 site, maybe 2, but you have got a high conversion rate across the board of multiple sites. How do you ensure consistency as you start to have more gyms? And the reason why this is going to be such a good answer is because if Fion can do this with 5, you can do it with 1 or 2. So listen to what this guy has to say because it's going to be game changing for your business if you are looking to improve these conversion rates.
Conversion rate, say so far this quarter is 84% across all 5 sites from front end to back end.
Woo! Wow, so that's incredible.
It's pretty good. Now, it wasn't always there.
Yeah,
I think there's no shortage of money in the world, only a shortage of people thinking big enough, right? And I think when you've one site, you're so in it. You're probably I was half the problem when we had one site, if that makes sense. So what we've done now is because we've scaled, we've in many ways scaled our problems, but it actually allows you to look at the business differently, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's just repetition of figuring out the biggest problem, why is our conversion rates 50% or 60%, looking at it objectively, and then putting in systems and staff training and just measure the data so that we can eventually get better over time and get it to where it is.
So I have 2 questions. Number 1, you mentioned that you were the problem in site number 1, whereas now you've obviously got more sites. So what were you doing that would give you the definition that you are the problem?
I think at one site I was too involved in trying to do everything. And I was trying to do everything but not doing anything well. So doing loads of things poorly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas now, because at scale I can't be in there, I have to actually think about it differently in a systematic approach to get the staff to do, number 1, 2, 3, 4, and if they do it repeatedly, you get repeated results. And then if you can figure out what lever to pull or what needs to be changed within the system, you can get repeatable outcomes. And that's pretty much all we've done. Whereas when it was me and Gav running the first site, it's you kind of operate off the fly and you might have systems in place. But when you have team, you have to, Roy was just saying, you have to build out an SOP, you have to systemize it. So now the business runs as a system instead of running as a one-man show or a two-man show when you've a single site.
I was speaking to Adam, who is here, and he was saying that his gym's in a really good spot, but he was at this spot where, you know, you need to get the staff to be able to delegate, but you also maybe don't have the funds to get the staff. So you're in this like really scary place where it's just consistently quite uncomfortable. Yeah. And it sounds like that is similar to what you were speaking about right now.
Yeah, well, if that's the problem, I think the hardest thing to do is to look at your business objectively, because we all like our businesses and we're too emotionally involved. But if you can get to a place where you actually assess the business and see what the constraint is, if the constraint is I don't have the money to hire the staff, maybe you actually need to look at the model, the pricing, and go back to basics, which we had to do 2 or 3 times, and be like, right, why don't I have the money to hire the staff? Is your pricing wrong? Is the model right? Is this business actually commercially viable? And actually then fix the right problem, more so than just, do you know what I'm saying?
And you had multiple gyms when you realized the model was wrong.
Yeah.
So again, like remodeling with one gym is a pretty difficult process, but doing it across multiple avenues, and you figured that out a few times.
Yeah. I think it never ends. It's always in iteration. Even now, it's like we're constantly looking at it and iterating it. But sorry, back to you.
So here's what I want to ask. So you remodeled probably 3 times. In hindsight, could you have done that just once? Because were there mistakes you made every single time, meaning that you had to do it again and again? And if that is the case, what were those mistakes that you potentially made when remodeling? It's quite a loaded question.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you don't learn. I think Paul Mort said it. Sometimes you have to jump into that river of, I can't remember what he said, but sometimes you have to jump into that river to figure out the stuff that you need to solve. You can't connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You have to like jump first and then refix, which is what we did. We like pushed the business as far as we could until cracks started to appear when it was like really, really stressful. Then we took a pause and went back, fixed all the stuff, and now we're ready to go from 5 to 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Fast. So.
And when you spoke at one of our masterminds, I think maybe a couple of years ago, it was a Dublin mastermind, and I think you were really open and transparent, and because you said like this one's converting great, this one's not converting very well, this is a problem that we have to address. And I think it was below, because I came on here thinking, yeah, they're all above 50%, but you went 84% for the year, and obviously like things will average out, and maybe it'll be lower or wherever, but. In that specific situation with that gym, you probably know the specific one you're referencing. I'm not 100% sure. What were the steps you took to actually increase, to improve the service in that specific gym, while also maintaining the service across the others?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think a couple of things. Is the system actually well documented and in place? And then if no, fix that and systemize it.
And was that not the case at the time?
Yeah, we had a vague system.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when it's like me and Gavin were running a gym, who's my business partner. It's like we didn't have everything documented. We were just doing things because that's how we did them. So is the system in place and SOP'd? And then secondly, is the staff capable? Is it the right person? Do I need to get rid of them and put in a new person? But usually where we're at now, it's like if we hired the right person, it's just staff training, development, feedback to push it to where it needs to get to.
Yeah.
In terms of like, say if it's a conversion rate, we'd look at the coach that's managing that piece of the business, like, and then just continually improve that person.
Nice. And by the way, I want to open this up to you guys out here as well. So if you do get a question, feel free to raise your hand. We'll throw the catch box and we can go from there. If not, I'm going to continue to load Fionn up with questions. What's your pre-launch process for the new gym now? So like you get a new gym, like is it there must be like a systematized process, and I think people will find this interesting because if you're at gym 1 and want to go to gym 2, then this is going to be really useful for you. Or if you're at gym 2 and want to go to gym 3, like is there like, because you've done it so many times, is there now like a system for that as well?
Yeah, there is. I think we've made so many mistakes that like every new gym is a better launch than the previous one, if that makes sense. So gym 6, which is coming on the 19th of May, we're now 10 weeks out. It'll be 9 weeks out on Monday. So we're way more organized than we've ever been. So the system is obviously, you know, you've got to do all the fit out and all, but it's like the staffing piece is probably a big one. So we're now, first thing we did was we sent out an email to the internal staff to put their hands up for the head coach position. Depending on who comes through that, we'll go externally, like Indeed.com, LinkedIn Jobs, and we'll try and hire that, you know, first 1 or 2 coaches, even 6-8 weeks out, hire them, even though they're premature, stick them in the gym for training for up to 6 weeks before launch, so that by the time the gym actually opens, they're ready to hit the ground running.
So you've got people hired 6 weeks before, and they're training in another gym of yours?
We'll basically double them up. Like it's when you look at the wage cost of the business pre-launch, it actually, your wage goes up because you've hired 1 or 2 extra bodies that you don't really need. But that extra, 4, 5, 6 weeks of training really benefits when you actually open the gym because they know what they're doing. So that's the staffing piece. Then you have the whole marketing side of things. So like a 6 to 8 week run-in is lovely. And then we are now just going to pre-sell them. So we're looking to hopefully open this gym with 67 sign-ups, 60 or 70 sign-ups.
And again, you've got a team of 19, and so I imagine expanding that team to, what will the team be when both gyms are open, do you know?
By the end of the year, we'll be at 31 staff.
Nice, wow. And I've got a couple of questions for that. So I imagine that you've got a pretty robust onboarding system now. So Roy mentioned this book that goes on. Have you got something similar for staff? Like there's a check. Because who's training the new staff? Is it still you? Like who trains for new staff now?
I only train anybody who directly reports to me.
Yeah.
So we've got kind of levels in the business. So
yeah, can we run through like the organizational chart? So it'd be good to visualize, but like we've got 19 is going to have 30. Like what does that look like and who are you managing within that?
Yeah, so I have 4 direct reports. Tasha, who's content creator, she's kind of responsible for any of the paid marketing, content creation there, the organic stuff, email campaigns, anything digitally that's got to do with marketing and branding. Paul then, who's basically my right-hand man, he pretty much runs the business. So any emails that come in, he does all the sales calls for 5 gyms, rostering, payroll, bookkeeping, just all that admin-y type stuff. Gavin then, who's my business partner, he's like the area manager for the 5 gyms. And then we've actually just recently hired a kind of a buildings manager, basically maintaining equipment, kind of light bulb breaks, he goes and sorts it. Because that was me up till 9-10 months ago. So they're my, say, 4 direct reports. Under Gav, then we have the 5 head coaches. And then under each head coach in each gym, we've got a senior coach and a junior coach. So when a new coach comes in as a junior coach, it's the head coach training that person. Me and Gav are not even... We will do the interview process, but after that, it's handed off to the head coach.
And so each gym has 3 coaches in, is that correct?
No, so the way we do it is because, and I like what Nikki said about just, understanding the metrics of the business, we're like massive on this. We will hire a new coach for every 60 clients. So if we can pre-launch site 6 to 60 or above, we'll have 2 full-time staff going in there. So you have 1 coach from 0 to 60, 2 coaches from 60 to 120 clients, and then 120 to full, which is 180 for us. You'd have 3 staff. So 3 of the gyms at the moment have 3 staff, 2 have 2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Because if you hire too much, you've basically you're making no profit. Your wage spend is like 50, 60%. It's just not a great place to be. So we try to keep our wage spend 35%-ish. Sometimes it fluctuates a bit up if you have to like hire for future roles, but we try to keep it there regardless of where the gym revenue is.
And so this is just out of curiosity, and you don't have to go too in depth for this. Nikki always says you've got to be profitable as you're moving forward, but obviously you're massively expanding, right? And you're in a huge growth phase. And where comes growth? A lot of the times the margins become a little bit bigger. But so are you going with a growth mentality where you're either maybe breaking even or maybe using investment, or are you still making sure you're profitable every single step of the way? Like what's your strategy and thoughts?
Yeah, I think as soon as the gym gets to 60 clients, it should be making money.
Yeah.
Like otherwise you just need to relook at the business. So all of our sites bar 1 kick out profit every single month. And the site that's not making money, we relocated it in January from where we were to another, and we lost a few people, so it's building back up. But from April it'll be profitable. I just think it's smart to always run them kicking out cash. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, because there's some people out there where like gym 1 does well, gym 2 does less than 15K, but then all of a sudden they're opening gym 3, and then they're potentially moving in a bit of a dangerous direction because now you're going to be using funds to like fund one gym when the others aren't actually sustaining themselves. So you're making sure realistically that every single gym is profitable at a higher level before you move on and kick on to the next one.
We've like 3 of our sites are full, which is 180 users. They all kick out over 30% profit every single month after me and Gavin get paid. It's a huge buffer. Site 4 is a little less profitable, and then site 4 is not making money at the moment. But there's so much buffer in those 3. We've loads of confidence going into 6, 7, 8, and the growth you can track the growth rate over time. And because we know we have a good handle on our expenses, we know where things are at. We can budget, forecast forward. So I like to push things until cracks appear, but there's like a line that's like over leveraged.
Yeah.
If you're taking on like way too much and you don't have enough in the bank, or things are just too tight that if something was to happen, 3 or 4% either side, you're fucked. Like, it's not a place I like to operate from. And as well as that, if you're opening up like gyms at the pace that we're doing it, even me as the business owner, you can't operate from a place of scarcity. So like if we have fucking no money in the bank, like I'm shitting myself. I cannot function as a gym owner. So we've been very diligent around banking profit, build a reserve. So now for us to open, you're doing it from a place of abundance. And Dan Aguilera, like, I learned this from him. It's like you have to build a runway of cash in your personal life. Bosh, he says, in your personal life to allow you to have this abundance mentality, but then you need to do it in business too. But that all comes back to like controlling the expenses. Am I profitable? Am I banking that profit, or am I spending it on dumb shit like a load of equipment that I probably don't need? We've just been really diligent so that when the new gyms come, we're doing it from a really good place. Mentally, I'm in a good place from abundance. We can fund it. So I hope that answered the question.
And speaking of the man himself, Dan Aguilera, for FBP Fitness Business Profits, you mentor for Dan now as well, and you work with the higher level gyms.
Yeah, so I've been working with Dan since I think 2022, September 2022. At the time, we had 2 sites, and things were fine, but I was really frustrated. We were actually just after joining FMA at the time because I was looking for paid ads. Joined G, and then through you guys, I found Dan, and then through the systems that Dan has helped us put into the business, we've just been able to open 3, 4, 5. Myself and Dan have grown quite close over the years, mentoring me. And then last September, I've like stepped into FBP to mentor very part-time some of the other gym owners too, which I quite enjoy.
Yeah.
It's nice.
And what I want to ask you is, and again, by the way, anyone who has any questions that you want to ask, raise your hand. We'll get the catch box thrown over to you. But with the gym owners, we've got one over there. With the gym, I think one there as well, was that? Oh, no, I've got Craig there. And with the gym owners that you work with, like, what are the differences in traits in terms of like those that get it, run with it, go? Because there's probably some people that are a joy to coach, and others where it takes a little bit more TLC to be able to kind of get them to where they need to be. So what are the main traits and attributes for you see of those that are going to do really well and those that need a little bit more?
I think it's the same as like coaching clients to like get a result. It's like I don't reinvent the wheel. So my marketing is whatever you guys put on the Q2 plan. I'm like, we're doing this, this, and this. So I just do what I'm told. When I join with Dan, it's just like I'd hop on a call and he'd say, do this, this, this. I'm like, I don't even question it. I just do it. The best gym owners just do the stuff that they're told. They don't question it. Like, they obviously question it in terms of like, is this the right thing for me? But they just take action and they move forward. The people who just a year from now, they come to this event, they're still in the same place, if not worse. It's just because they've left the event and they've actually not done the stuff. They've just kind of spun their wheels. So I think just bold action takers, just doing the things.
Yeah, it sounds like the people that
it sounds simple, but like,
yeah,
you know, if you're trying to get in shape, like go to the gym 3-4 times a week, drink water, eat. Like, it's not hard to do. Like, we all know what to do. It's to actually pick up the phone, like Luke was saying, and do those 50 dials. Like, that's just the difference. Like, there's literally, I have 5 gyms. We're opening 2 or 3 more this year. I'm not that special. Like, there's nothing special about me or Gav. Like, anybody could do it. I think we've just lent into the discomfort of dealing with the stress every day and like understanding that this is normal, and we just lean in and like do the work.
Sounds like, you know, jumping in that river of change is from what you just go ahead and do it regardless of the feelings that come with it. So I'm going to go to Craig. So have we got the catch box anywhere? Who has got the catch box? Oh, I'll pass the mic. Oh, Jason's going to pass it over from Azora Sports.
It's good, this Fionn. So how long have you been running this business as it is now?
2017, the company was set up. April 2018, we opened the first gym, which is 8 years ago next month, I think. Yeah.
And how long?
7. Is that right? 7, 8 years, yeah.
How long did it take you to get to the point where you felt comfortable to, as you said, push the business until cracks appear?
It's still uncomfortable. It's not comfortable at all. Like, the thought, I actually put up a story on my Instagram this week of the building works for Site 6, and somebody I know messaged me because we relocated another one of our gyms through Christmas, and we opened up in January, and they said to me, how do you have the appetite to face that again, right? And I looked at it, I was like, fuck, he's right. Like, so it's never comfortable. Like, it's not. Like, every step is uncomfortable. It is what it is. So we just, like that, I think we just come to accept that this is painful to do that. It is what it is.
And if you do that, then if you're going to say, like, we're going to run it until we see cracks, at what point do you say, right, this is the litmus test, that's what we need to address, and then what do you do to that to address it?
It depends what the cracks are. So, like, when I say that, it's like the probably the biggest crack I won't push into is me and Gavin's mental health, if that makes sense. So, like, you know, when things are getting really busy and it's really getting on top of you, like, you can push it to a stage, but I kind of know my own cliff. that if I went off it is like disaster zone. So the one thing I won't sacrifice is my own mental and physical health, or my business partner, or my family, if that makes sense. So if it's becoming too much of a burden on them, I'll pull back. But other than that, I'm like, fucking, let's go. And then you can develop a bit of resilience over time. So like stuff that used to stress me, like even 18 months ago, now I'm like, it's grand, because you've just, stayed in that uncomfortableness, and your zone of like what you can handle does increase. So it's very nuanced.
Have you got any like specific examples of like a recent crack that you saw and you addressed?
At the moment, it's actually probably it's just the way I see the cracks at the moment. I see them all as solvable. So at the moment, things are fine. I think in the past it's the early days stuff. Me and Gav getting off the gym floor. That was tough, and that was so long ago, because we had to become somebody totally different. We had to shed the coach identity and now become a gym owner. That was painful, because it's an identity thing. Does that make sense? So some of the hardest stuff were like those early days stuff, getting off the gym floor, having where's Fionn now? He thinks he's great sitting in the coffee shop. He doesn't coach, like that stuff. That was the most difficult. Whereas recently, they're just challenges that I think we can overcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. We got a question from Dwayne. So if you can chuck the box to me, and I'm going to chuck it to Dwayne. Whoop, lovely stuff. Yeah, could have gone sideways there. Perfect.
Phil, for me, would you have a checklist or advice you would give to somebody who's maybe starting out on that journey to open up site number one?
Okay, so first site?
Yes.
Yeah.
Checklist. Probably like from the top down, from a model point of view, like, can you reverse engineer what finish looks like, right? That's probably something that I wish I did at the start. So like, what does finish look like? Because when you open a gym, it's great, and then you hear this, it's like, I'm going to do small group PT, and then I'm going to do large group PT over here, and I might do a bit of one-to-one on the side, and now I'm going to launch an online part to the business. I would try to figure that out first. What does finish look like, right? What does finish look like? And then reverse engineer the numbers. So for us, just to give you an idea, finished for us is 180 clients paying 177 a month. The business does 33K a month in revenue. I spend 30% on wages, 40% on op cost, including my wages, 30% profit margins. 3 coaches, full-time, 2,500 square foot, done. It's finished. I can be very specific with it, and then I build towards that. So I actually know exactly where I'm going. I think when you're starting, and this is something for us, is like we actually didn't know where we were going. We just kind of figured our way there. But if you can reverse engineer what finish looks like, you're off to a winner. Because then that dictates your model, your price point, what size square footage you want, how many staff do I hire, when do I hire them, what do I pay them. That's all dictated by what does finish look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. And I think with that, we are good to wrap up this session. So again, if you do have any questions for Theo, make sure to follow him on Instagram, which is here. And again, feel free to ask him any questions when you can catch him there. And again, a round of applause for Theo.
Hope you enjoyed that episode. Fionn has been a client of Fitness Marketing Agency since 2022. And in that time, we've supported him, his business, his brand in marketing and sales, and potentially we can do the same for you. He's been able to scale up to soon 7 sites. Look, if you have aspirations to grow, if you're frustrated with where you're at financially in terms of client numbers, if you're not making enough profit, at Fitness Marketing Agency, we can potentially help you. All you need to do is go to fmademo.com, book a call, and you'll jump on a Zoom call with me or one of the team, and we'll literally just share screen and we'll show you the exact system Fionn and over 430 plus fitness business owners are using right now to consistently grow and scale their business, but more importantly, make the money that they need and want. If you're interested, go to fmademo.com and I'll see you there.